presents a review of some of the epic contributions to aviation and aerospace made by and in the name of Howard Hughes. The initial Hughes contribution to American industry was in 1909 when Howard Hughes Sr. developed the rotary rock bit that revolutionized the exploration for oil. A world-famous movie, Hell's Angels, produced and directed by Mr. Hughes when he was only 22, reflected his driving interest in aviation. The movie also revealed his passion for perfection and the attention to detail which was to characterize all the Hughes efforts. 40 World War I aircraft and 100 expert pilots made possible for the first time aerial sound film that was shot without faked air scenes. In 1935, the Hughes Racer, the first airplane designed and built by Mr. Hughes, introduced such revolutionary advances as the power retractable landing gear and flush riveting to reduce resistance to air in flight. The Racer set new engineering standards for the aircraft industry.
I can't think of anything very important to say about aviation at this time except that I think that although its advancement is undoubtedly great and for a purpose, when someone like Will Rogers is killed, it rather makes the whole thing seem not worth the price. The airplane has been constructed during the last year and a half for a design competition for Army pursuit planes in this country. We think it'll be not only faster than any racing plane ever built in this country, but also faster than any pursuit ship or other military plane in any country whatsoever.
The Racer was the first of a series of experimental aircraft developed by Hughes, each well ahead of its time. Without exception, each made major contributions to aviation advancement and technology. The breaking of the existing speed record with the Racer was the first of a series of Hughes achievements in aviation in the late 1930s. These culminated with an around-the-world flight which greatly advanced navigation by air. Mr. Hughes' personal aeronautical expertise overcame the challenges of testing his own designs.
This beat field is not a very appropriate setting for this little airplane, which is the new holder of the world's land plane speed record. Its forced landing here was caused by motor failure while it was being clocked by the National Aeronautical Association at an average speed of approximately 350 miles an hour, ample to surpass the old record of 314 held by the French. At the time the motor failed, it was traveling approximately 370. Failure was caused by faulty fuel supply system. I put it down in this field where the landing gear retracted, as landings in rough country are safer with the wheels up.
New York. Millionaire, movie producer, and record-breaking aviator Howard Hughes. In his Northrop plane with the Wright Cyclone engine, he spanned the continent in 9.5 hours, breaking all records.
The first occurrence of importance was the failure of the radio immediately after leaving Los Angeles, so I was without it throughout the flight. The weather was good from beginning to end, except for about 2 hours of blind flying between Kingman and Santa Fe, New Mexico. I flew at 18,000 feet from start to finish and used oxygen.
He speeds in like a bullet, roaring down with the wind on his tail as he completes the speediest flight, coast to coast, from Los Angeles to Newark in 7 hours and 28 minutes. He established the previous record, 9 hours and a half. Now he smashed his own mark to bits, cut it by 2 hours, startling the flying world. He averaged 332 miles an hour. Howard Hughes, oil multimillionaire and former Hollywood producer. His plane a secret. They thought he was flying to Chicago, but he sprang a surprise by shattering transcontinental speed records to Newark. York. He rode a while on a gale, flew high over clouds all the way, grew weak and faint in the thin air of the substratosphere and had to use oxygen. Speed king of distance flying, annihilator of space.
Crowds gather at Floyd Bennett Field, where newsmen are ready to flash the word. Howard Hughes stands at the door of his plane, surrounded by World's Fair officials and other well-wishers. As evening falls, the millionaire sportsman and his crew of 4 start one of the greatest adventures of the century, a 3,600-mile non-stop flight. All's well as they wing over the Atlantic, but 1,500 miles out, fuel trouble threatens. World's Fair Director Whalen hears Hughes' voice through the static of shortwave radio.
Well, our main concern at this time is our fuel consumption. Therefore, I hope that we're going to get to Paris before we run out of gas, but I'm not too sure at this point.
But the flyers push on, favored by fortune.
They've landed!
16 and a half hours to Paris, then on to Moscow.
Aviation's supreme achievement. Time is destroyed and space is humbled. More than 30,000 New Yorkers jam their way into Floyd Bennett Field to see the epoch-making arrival of Howard Hughes and his companion. There they are, 15,000 miles around the world. Eager wives await 3 of the heroes. All records crumble. The last lap is made at 250 miles an hour. And there's the landing, wheels touch. It's New York to New York in 91 hours, 17 minutes. The Birdmen shot around the globe, touching only 2 foreign countries, France and Russia. Floyd Bennett's clock points the historic hour. 20 motorcycle police surround the plane. Souvenir hunters would tear it to pieces. And now 1,200 patrolmen begin their struggle with the mass of humanity. They've set a mark that staggers man's imagination and proved their flying test tube. The craft is jammed with brand new instruments the flyers tested for the Army. A secret new robo-pilot is included. Mrs. Thurlow gives her welcome to her navigator husband. Here are the rest. Radio man Stoddard, the expedition's chief, wealthy young Howard Hughes, co-pilot Lunt, and out for good this time, Tommy Thurlow, who shared navigation duties with Harry Connick. 5 princes of the skyways, out of the blue into the arms and heart of all America. The whiskered skipper Hughes is welcomed by New York's Mayor LaGuardia.
Greatest record established the history of aviation. I know you're tired. Congratulations and welcome home. That's for the entire crew.